Hello and welcome to the podcast. The seasons have changed. The weather is upticking. I've been in a generally quite positive mood.
Gotta love that upticking weather.
I'm drinking this out of a new glass now because we've got, as we mentioned before, a beer nerd in the flat. One benefit from not talking to him. That is a nightmare.
He's an ostracised figure.
Sure, just conversations with him.
Yeah.
Just trying to get to the kitchen without him going, and then trying to start a conversation. I always have to be in a hurry.
He's not just a beer nerd, he's like a food nerd as well. Like, it's really... He's one of my
but
best
one
friends
benefit,
on the planet, but when he tells me about the calamari he made last night, I couldn't be more disinterested.
No, it's true. But he does have a great selection of beer glasses.
Yeah.
This one is quite... I like these ones because it's like you're getting like beer and it makes it like a classy thing.
Yeah.
It feels like one of those beer adverts.
Do you think it has any difference of the taste?
Ones,
Do you think it has any different...
Oh, yeah. Estrella.
They say,
live. I'd say, do a beer advert. So what are you advertising?
Well, I'm sipping a cool whiskey.
Okay.
So I think I'd...
Do a whiskey ad. So it's like... Jack Daniels, be the best man you can be. Okay, let me do the beer advert. Hey, Pedro, come here. Hey, we're gonna be late. What's this? Estrella? Oh. Estrella, family.
Even one of those.
Those are good.
They're both adequate. But do you think it actually changes the taste? I've decided, by the way, I'm going to hold the notepad and pen for the whole of this episode. It just feels right.
It gives a lot of power, and I think in response to the power dynamic,
because I can actually cut you off at any point.
No, for now, this has completely changed. Because this just must look fucking weird.
It must look ridiculous. You don't have the most attractive legs.
No, they're probably my least attractive.
I don't want to see. If I was viewing this, it's annoying to sit up here for 2 hours anyway and look at your legs.
Yeah,
but
that must look weird. It must look weird that my feet are the same height as your knees.
Yeah, they're higher.
Yeah, I'd say the legs are the weirdest part of the body, but it's short season. I started early, February short season.
We'll do the notepad high chair episode.
It's a special.
It's a special.
Yeah.
But do you think it changes the actual taste of the beer depending on the glass, or do you think it's just more about the mindset that you have taking a sip of that fine glass every time you had the beer?
Well, it's a weird way you phrase that question because you don't obviously it doesn't change the taste.
No, yes, it does. That's kind of part of the point of it.
No.
You should drink specific beers.
Oh,
in specific
you mean
glasses.
The way it lets the air out and stuff?
Yeah, how it tastes. I mean how I said I mean.
I guess so, because because you do it with wine glasses. Yes, whatever it is, mainly placebo, but maybe slightly.
Do you want to get around to answering the question?
I think it's all about how cold it keeps it.
Okay, interesting.
So the thing is, this is why...
So why wouldn't you just put everything in a Chili's bottle?
Another good point. Because it needs to breathe.
Yep, sure.
So it's about breath and coldness.
Fresh air. So it's a breath coldness kind of payoff matrix.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it's also, if you're a real drinker, you need something that you can get your nose into.
So you can smell that.
A good huff. But beer's not really a huffing.
The more I descend into alcoholism, the more I find myself sniffing my drink.
Yeah, huffing it, because that's double whammy, Yeah. That's both senses.
It's like the kind of inhalation of relief.
Sure. I'm very specific on the kind of cups I drink out of. I'm one of those guys. I find it changes the taste a lot, but it's mainly up here. I have the same coffee cup every morning.
Yeah, meticulously.
And
once BB was coming down and... Actually, that's a good point. Once BB was coming downstairs to make coffee for both of you, I was also in the kitchen, maybe, having some Marmite toast or whatever I do in the morning. Frankly, that's none of your business. So then...
Churning butter for the Marmite.
Okay, I was going to say not in the kitchen. So she then was...
Where do you wank then?
Where do I wank?
Not in the kitchen.
No, we're doing the no smarting episode. I'm not going to... But BB came down and was making coffee for both for you two. And she was
the prince I am.
The prince you are. And it was in the cafetiere, and then she brings up... It does... I'd say it rotates, but I mostly see BB down there doing it. Is it recording?
Yeah, it's recording.
Okay,
I just didn't have you on the right audio.
Okay, that's fine. BB was down, and I'd say it's mostly her. that does it, but that's immaterial.
Sure.
And she was making a quip, as she does,
Yeah.
about how meticulous you are about having the specific mug.
Mm-hmm.
And I already knew that because I always see you drink out of that. Is it like a Starbucks rainbow mug? Yeah, it's right there. And I said, yeah, no, honestly, please just take up a different mug. Take up a different mug. Just like piss him off, just for once. And she was like, I was like, but actually doing, she was like, you know, when someone's in an abusive relationship and they have to laugh off things like that because it's so abhorrent that they might even actually do it. So she couldn't even contemplate doing it for a joke because she knew how genuinely pissed off you'd be.
I can't relate because I'm normally the abuser, so I don't.
You are the abuser.
Yeah, so I don't know what it's like to be in an abusive relationship.
Yes.
So I don't really relate to that story.
No, you don't.
That's quite boring for me.
Yes, even though it's about.
I was sitting here thinking, there's nothing in this for me.
What do you mean by that? What's the point, bro?
I don't connect with it because it's not my lifestyle.
As it was. As someone, but as BB, as someone to be, up for a joke and everything.
Sure.
It was like she was really awkwardly laughing off because she knew how.
Yeah, she knew what she'd be getting.
Yeah.
Yeah, she knew I was wearing my rings that day as well.
That's a woman beating joke.
That's backhand slapping.
That's not on the plan.
It is. What's all this moral shit you've got into? You used to be such a blast.
No,
you said you're going to stop doing the wanking jokes.
Yeah.
You're wearing you normally wear trousers, but now I look like this fucking wife-beating slut.
I'm straight edge now. That's the thing.
Look at this with your fucking notepad.
Well,
What's this? Uncross your legs and put the note back down and make some fucking domestic violence jokes, you pussy.
I think part of it is now. Was this before the notepad or after the notepad? Did the notepad cause this? I feel like my personality has changed.
I think it's the notebook.
I think it's the note.
And do you know what? That links perfectly in with the cup debate. I think it's the same type of thing. It's kind of a mindset.
Yeah.
It's a mindset.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So you are as much your container as you are the liquid within.
It's true. It's very true.
So I'll put the notepad down.
Yes.
So did you hear the one about the black fella and the Irishman?
Go on, finish that joke. Try and do that in a woke way. Finish that joke, but it's like a healthy.
So it has to be a joke, but also
it has to be a joke. It can't just be a moral statement.
A black
fella and an Irishman walk into a bar. The bartender goes, "Get out,"
and then they say, "Which one of us?" And then the bartender says,
the black guy.
The black guy.
Because I'm racist.
I'm
racist towards both of you. But because Ireland is closer and racially more similar, I'm more racist to black people.
And then they say, if you were racist and you own this bar and you're going to kick one of us out, why wouldn't you kick both of us out?
Well, I'm kicking you both out, but you asked which one.
No. So then, no, I said, which one are you kicking out? Oh, so did you think I asked which? So I'm now both the guys and you're the bartender. So why, if you said you were kicking us both out, you said you were kicking one of us out.
Oh, okay.
Did you mean both of us?
I meant both of you.
Okay. We'll leave and we'll leave a bad Yelp review.
That's a street joke. That's a street joke.
It's kind of like, it's applicable to everyone.
Have you got any street jokes? You're not good off the top of your head with those kind of things.
No, I'm not. I'm not good at the top of my head on many things.
Should I tell the...
Wait, a street joke? So that's not like, why do all the barcodes...
That is. Go on.
Oh, yeah.
You fucked it, but go on.
No, I fucked it, but we'll go back. Why do all the boats in Denmark have a barcode on them?
Why?
To Scandinavian.
That's a great joke.
It's a great joke.
Why did the witch wear a bowler? Why
did we both find it? It's pretty embarrassing.
Why doesn't a witch wear a bowler hat?
Why doesn't a witch wear a bowler hat?
Yeah.
Why?
No point. Why does Roger Federer like the Swiss flag? Like being Swiss. Flag's a big plus, but I said the flag bit.
What the fuck? What
happened?
just
Flag's a big plus.
Oh, God, yeah.
Because it's a big plus, yeah.
Yeah. A bit offended that you can think of another Swedish person other than Roger Federer.
What's Swiss? Fucking hell. Because you made a joke about Sweden. Did
I make it? No, I did. I made a
what's
joke
the difference between a hippo and a zippo?
One's heavy, one's a little lighter.
Bang.
Well, I've got another one, but you have to give me a minute.
Okay.
So let's all take a minute. We don't do enough on this podcast is just take a minute of silence for like a period of reflection.
I feel there's some topics we want to get into.
Yeah, but I've also got one street joke somewhere.
Okay.
Just think about something. I don't know. Talk amongst yourselves.
So, Boris has announced lockdown, which, I have mixed feelings about.
Can I rattle off my Mexican jokes?
Okay. Did you just ruin the punchline, or?
No. I haven't even started. I've got 4 different Mexican jokes. 2 of them weren't me. One of them was a friend, and one of them was me.
Okay.
And you have to guess
Wait,
which.
an original one?
Yeah, one of them's original.
Okay.
One. You have to guess which. Everyone knows this one. Why did the Mexican man push his wife off a cliff?
Because of
a
troubled upbringing.
When I say everyone knows this, everyone worth their salt knows this.
Oh, why?
Tequila.
That's a good one. Okay, next one.
Why? Hold on. Okay. Maybe I've only got 3 actually. This is my friends. What did the Mexican fireman, call his 2 sons?
Jose and Pedro.
Jose and Hose B.
That's
Adams. It's really good.
That's a good one.
It's really good.
Yeah.
And lastly, why did the Mexican man burn all his wood? Fajita.
That's good. That's a good
one.
one. Yeah, that's a really good one.
And that's my Mexican jokes.
Okay, that's pretty good.
You were saying something about Boris Johnson.
Yeah, I had another joke. This is a hole that you can fall into.
Yeah.
Let's get off the street and let's get back into the studio.
Yeah.
So yes, lockdown announcement is the big. This is. Yeah, I think.
Lockdown announcement.
So, Big Bozza has announced.
Bozzy G hunks.
Yeah, Bozzy G hunks. So 8th of March is when schools go back.
If Boris Johnson had a Reddit account, what would his username be?
Blowjoe69.
My answer as well. Sorry.
Good. So, how did you feel with the lockdown announcement? Which we run over it because we also a news channel. 8th of March for schools.
Sure.
17th of April for Rule of 6.
Why not?
And domestic holidays. 17th of May for... Oh, no, it was something else in April. 17th of May for foreign holidays. And 21st of June for the end of lockdown.
Sounds reasonable to me.
What are your thoughts?
My initial thoughts on this were I still maintain my feeling of numbness. And it's not the whole we've been lied to before, we'll be lied to again. It's more just it's also like the earliest possible. So it's like it would be a logical thing to not get your hopes up for it. But at the same time, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that it's such an intangible thing at the moment. And although they've put a tangible roadmap on it, I can't pull myself out of the numbness of lockdown to properly invest in the material feeling of it being over yet. It'll have to get a lot closer. And I don't think I'll truly believe, because it's been so long, I don't think I'll truly believe that we're there until I'm sitting in a pub at some point with more than 6 people.
More than 6 people, yeah.
Or because the plan
what's going to be the thing? Because we're going to get into pubs before. What's going to be? What's going to be the real thing that you're like?
Well, the plan is we're having a. Well,
nightclubs will be.
Yeah, nightclubs. That'll
be when you're like, fuck. This is really.
I think I'll cry.
Yeah.
But we're going to have a post-lockdown party at. You can bleep it.
Well, it's just a fucking nightmare, isn't it?
Bleeping it. But so we're going to have that, and that will be. I think that might be it for me. That when you see more than, because I mean, even when we were in the tier system, you're only seeing a couple of specific friends that you were kind of sanctioned to be able to see.
Yeah.
In the rule of 6 or whatever it was, 2 household stuff. So like it's just like seeing friends who are friends but not like the closest in proximity
100%.
or closeness to you.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's like whenever I left a school or when I left school in general, I always thought like, fuck, the people who I started feeling most emotional when I thought about those people I liked, wasn't really close friends with, who I just like people you're friends with, you're going to see again. But it's those kind of like funny little weird kids who have like a really nice relationship but nothing concrete. Who without the structure of a shared goal like
you'll
school.
You'll have a great time in history together.
Yeah, exactly.
But you've got nothing to talk about when the
like
lesson's
the guy
over.
I did, shout out Don Mapp, the guy I did Lambda
Don
with.
Mapp's the best.
He's a great guy,
He's the best.
but I'm not going to hang out one-on-one with him.
Yeah, it's a shame, really.
It's a shame.
Maybe post-lockdown, this is our kind of excuse to reach out to the Don Macs of the world.
Yeah, maybe. You need to reach out to your Don Mac. I think that's a bit of advice, and that's something that, I think we all should start reflecting and think about, right, we need to grab life by the balls. And I think part of it, travel more, sure. You know, go for the dreams you want, take less shit, sure. But mainly
go for a coffee with an awkward friend. That's what we really need.
Yeah, but then I feel there's often a reason why you're not super close to them, and then past like light banter in history.
Exactly. The part of it is keeping the kind of mystique of that person. Because you've interacted with them on a very minor place in a very specific environment. Once you start, we have idealized visions of these people. If you're then maybe to go one-on-one and try to properly develop a friendship, you lose that idealized version.
It's true.
So maybe the beautiful image we both have of Don Mac should stay in the past. So disregard everything we just said.
So Don Mac, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
We're busy for the next few years.
But because it is sort of those kind of friends, they're almost like a crush, you know. When you like them most is when you don't know them that well, and they've just got a mystery. But then as soon as you truly find out who they are, it's like the mystery is broken. So
we're not saying like Don Mac might well hear this. This isn't just about Don Mac, as in this is a broader point. It's a broader point.
It's mainly about Don Mac.
It's mostly about Don Mac. Kind of exclusively about him. He's got some weird shit going on underneath.
You sure? Oh, yeah. And I don't want to find that out because I have a beautiful image.
What a beautiful bum.
Beautiful bum.
Big, beautiful bum. Anyone that doesn't know Don Mac, looking up on Facebook, you'll find it through our mutual friends. Give him an ad, drop him a message.
Yes. But so I felt when I heard everyone was kind of celebrating here in the lockdown announcement, there was the general consensus I got off Facebook was like, there's a date, it's finally.
Yeah.
I didn't feel that. I felt it was too long, and I felt like more tedious. I think I was much more pessimistic because I'm really optimistic about if I'm watching sport, if I'm politics and those kind of things. If someone like when he said there's the earliest we could do is March, I'm just like, right, March is when it's going to happen. That's just how so I can go forward. I'm like,
wait, if he says the earliest you can do,
because remember Boris was saying like if everything goes to plan, we could open lockdown in March.
Oh yeah, but that was with the biggest pinch of salt.
Yeah, but for me, I'm like, I'm going to believe that.
Oh, that's poor. That's poor lockdown policy. That is poor lockdown psychological policy.
No, because that's what I need. I need is like
worst case scenario, like right. That leads into the biggest point I have of many of things, and we'll get back specifically to it. But like, if you go into something with low expectations, you can only ever be pleased with it.
Yeah, but I think I needed high expectations.
High expectations often ruin things. I mean, maybe you needed it to drag you.
I just needed that for like to like structure lockdown a bit in my mind, because it's like it's great that 21st of June, which is just everyone's getting. It's going to be midsummer,
and once again we're having a party.
But it's so fucking long away.
Yeah.
It's so long.
I know it's long.
We haven't even started spring.
But what the beauty about this announcement, I think people have coined into, is the fact that the end is in sight. And so for me, I think, because I think we've almost switched, because I'm often cautiously optimistic. I feel like I'm more optimistic on a more micro level of things. Yeah. But for this, I think pessimism is a form of optimism.
Okay.
And I'm going to explain that thusly.
Great. Yeah.
I feel like you're...
I'm cynical
by being pessimistic about the time, that how long it's going to be, it forces you to be optimistic about the reality that you're living in currently. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking it's going to be ages away, so I can deal with it the best that I can at the moment without expecting it to come really like at the earliest possible point.
Yeah.
But if you start to focus on the end goal, then you start to become more pessimistic on our life right now.
Yeah, like look at a watch clock.
Exactly.
Thing.
A watch kettle never boils.
Yes.
If you will.
I was trying to think of another one, but I couldn't.
I don't think there's an equivalent.
There's the watch clock. There's the watch kettle.
Watch clock and watch kettle. What other things take time?
Watching paint dry.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's another one.
Well, that's more about tedium.
Yeah.
Oven chips take longer when you look at them.
A pencil going down to its nub.
Yep.
Will take longer if you're... No, it doesn't. Because no one's watching. Yeah, no, okay.
When you want to run, if you constantly think, I'm running, then
it's a horrible run.
It's a horrible long run.
Yeah.
I think we got most
we got most of them. Yeah. I guess I was very optimistic about it, and it's just the feeling. I guess for me, I was like, I went in to lockdown 22 years old, and I'm now definitely going to leave it 24 years old.
You're
So
one of those, which is a
unlucky.
misleading statistic, but you are one of the few
It's
people.
what we do, man. It's like misleading.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Don't fucking,
Yeah.
don't question it.
2 years of lockdown. How will it affect the nation? Horatio came in when 22 years old. Now he's 24. How do you answer that, Boris?
No, you're right.
Because on the second day of lockdown, it was my birthday, and now,
Oh, woe is me.
yeah. Well, it's just like,
It was my birthday.
because in my head, I was like, there's a small chance that on my birthday, the next year it will be out, so I can just count.
Poor optimism.
But I just wanted, for my own head, I wanted to take like, that's a year of my life gone, sure.
Yeah.
But now it's a year and a half. That's 2 years.
But
Because
you're
it
too
is sort of,
focused on this arbitrary kind of year, like the concept of a year in this way.
I guess I'm all right.
What you want is the perfect neat lockdown. You
that
want it
suits
to
my
be,
birthday.
it started and it happens to be around your birthday,
Yeah.
which again
Yeah.
feeds into your narcissism.
I guess it's because it's like, yeah, no, I guess,
You wanted it to start and end on your birthday in corresponding years, just so it can be a neat thing.
so I can be
And
like,
I
23.
have a feeling if you were
it's
in
gone.
power, you might disregard human lives just so you could get.
Well,
that.
it'll be a big
Also,
bank
do you know
holiday
a
on my
great- A great
birthday.
point about this that I saw is Boris Johnson's birthday is on the weekend of when we come out of lockdown,
Really?
which is hilarious.
That is, well, it's kind of the point you were making about if I was in power.
Yeah,
But it's also the day before the first Euros game, which is going to be wild. I want to see those rabid people, because everyone could be jam-packed in the pub watching the first
I
England
don't
game
think
of the
it'd
Euros.
be jam. Yeah, God, it might be.
Probably will be. If there's no restrictions, it's the summer. No one's
Yeah.
got other plans.
Maybe.
Like,
Again, like this is my reaction to it.
Yeah.
Of maybe, but I'm not gonna put all my eggs in that basket.
I guess so.
Because then it's just like, I honestly believe this is looking good, and I think we will probably be near that stage. But like, it's pointless, just like given the whole year, everything we've learned this year about this virus and how our government is going to respond to it, and how our governments in general are going to respond to it, is that we can't be too focused on these endpoints.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just going to be disappointed.
Yeah, and like, we had a little conversation about this.
But if not, it'll be a month later. It's not too long. My thing about the June deadline, whatever it is.
It's probably latest going to be July, August.
Exactly.
Surely.
Which is cool. So the end is in sight, even
Yeah.
if it's not at that exact date. And then we just shift everything a month later, and it's all right.
Yeah, I guess part of me is just because we had a little debate, like maybe 2 nights ago, or maybe even last night. 2 nights ago, where we were discussing, and I was kind of being a little bit devil's advocate, but I kind of felt like it was too slow considering how many people we vaccinated. It just seemed to me like another 3-4 months of lockdown seemed unnecessary. Obviously, I say this by saying that I don't know what I'm talking about. Genuinely don't know what I'm talking about. But it seems to me, from what little I know, that it does seem too long, because you've got most of the vulnerable people have been vaccinated.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's not just about deaths, though. Is what I'm saying.
What's it about?
It's about, well, COVID itself it could be a horrible disease, even if you survive it. For some people,
But not horrible enough to
But transmission.
wreck businesses even more than they are.
Well, no, because right, my response to you is thus. Like, I agree that there is a discussion to be had about if it's been too late, but that should only be a purely economic one. It shouldn't be anything else other than, because recessions.
Mental health, is that?
Yeah, that's in there. Yeah. No, that's within it, of course. But like, recessions cause deaths.
Sure.
And so there is a case to be weighed up about like the amount of deaths that would occur by staying in lockdown versus the amount of deaths that would occur because of a longer recession due to lockdown.
Yeah.
But some of the problem is, one, from my emotional perspective, if we're talking emotionally, is that I am completely prepared to maintain this, keep it going for a bit in order to make sure we don't ever go back in. And I know it's becoming a lot less likely that we'll ever go back in because of vaccinations and all those things. But the argument about like most of the vulnerable people have been
20% of
vaccinated.
people,
have been, of course, but that doesn't necessarily mean like transmission. It doesn't. It occurs more. It's about the transmission of it, and we can't. What we need to do in order for us to get to a safe level, so that we can all go out and experience proper life, rather than slightly stagnated life based on government rules, is to have the virus completely fucking gone.
Yeah.
And out there. and just gone. Because like then you have the problem with variants and all of these things.
Yeah, the variant thing is kind of. I'm still not fully convinced by the other arguments. The main argument that I think I wish maybe was more posited was like a fear that the vaccine won't work, because I think I'm not a maths guy, I'm not a science student. We know this, but 20% of the people, it's when the virus started, completely fair to be ultra cautious because we had no idea what it was. We know what it is now, and it's not as bad as we thought it would be. Realistically, it's not as bad. That's a fair point. It's not when it started. It was like it could have been anything, and that was a terrifying moment because we really didn't know what it was.
That's the title of this episode. COVID, has it gone too far?
That's what we'll be debating. Has COVID gone too far? It's a good idea that went out of hand, in my opinion.
Absolutely out of hand.
Yeah.
I think it's become uncontrollable.
Didn't we agree?
I think it's become uncontrollable.
So I know a lot of people don't want to hear. This is a tough pill to swallow, but I was a big COVID guy when it started. I thought this is a great idea.
I didn't know anyone bigger.
I was big into it, but it's gone too far.
It's gone too far.
I know a lot of people say like, old people don't matter. It's good to kill them, and I was one of those people as well. But we've killed enough.
Yeah, there's like ethnic and age-related cleansing. Only there's
can only get you so far. Can only get you so far.
There's a ceiling to it, and it's really morphed into something that we didn't expect it to at the early stages.
So, do you mind if I say for both of us as a joint statement that we on Boys Gone Wild we think COVID's gone too far?
That. We'll say it together into the camera.
COVID's gone too far, and that's an official statement. You can quote us on that. That's on the record. You can print that in the Daily Mail if you want.
Do it.
We don't care because we'll stand by it.
Stand by it.
I don't care if we get flack for it. Look, I don't care.
If the thought police come round knocking on our door, we're not going to have any problems. We'll say,
if PC comes around,
yeah,
no one really.
Nice, that's fantastic.
Yeah. Police constable, political correctness, PC. It's gone too far.
It's gone too far. And we at Boys Gone Wild will be the first people to say it, and we might be chastised.
I think we are the first people to say it.
To be honest, I think we might be the first people to utter that sentence
because we're an alternative media source. And any patrons subscribe to the Patreon are subscribe to the Patreon are supporting alternative media sources who are not in the pocket of big business.
Yeah, like we're not governed by the same principles as all of these phony news outlets.
Exactly.
We're here to say the facts. The facts as we call them and as we see them. We call COVID as a fake ass phony bitch hope.
We've had enough of COVID. Let's end it now. But yeah, so it's not as bad as we thought when it started. It's clear who it affects.
But I feel like the effect is the word that I disagree with you, because you're talking effects just in deaths.
To be honest, that's how because of how high the cost is of locking down just to business, mental health, life.
Yeah.
Just in so many reaches, how it's affected just so many things, even deeper than the economy. I think it kind of has to be in deaths.
How deep is your love?
Yeah, but it's deep. It's deep.
Is it like the ocean?
It's like the ocean.
Is it like devotion?
Yeah. No, well, mainly the ocean.
Maybe not like that.
I kind of only think you should really measure it in deaths, because what's the other negative things? It's like you have a cold for 2 weeks, or maybe even hospitalised, which is bad, but.
Yeah, but it could be, so the argument might be...
The variant argument's good.
Yeah.
Like if
variant, yeah.
Yeah, because if there's a variant that the vaccine doesn't thing, and it's because we locked out, then that
My
is scary.
point would also be that it's... Because, like, when people compare it to the flu or whatever, it doesn't make sense.
Why?
Because the flu is something we expect and we live with on a regular basis, day to day. COVID is something that we should have the capacity to eradicate. We don't have the capacity to eradicate the flu.
No, but I think flu's helpful just for putting it in a bit of perspective.
No, but then it reduces and like, I'm not saying the argument of every human life needs to be this or something, but there's an element of that.
Sure.
Like I'm
a bit devil's advocate.
And COVID deaths are horrible. It's my point is also that COVID, like, because it stops you seeing your loved one for the last time, and funerals are terrible. And you're lucky.
You've had a funeral and a wedding in COVID.
I've had a funeral and a wedding in COVID.
Yeah.
And like
what was more depressing?
The wedding. No, of course it wasn't. The wedding was actually quite nice.
Yeah.
And like,
just less people as well.
Again, this
just,
is
you get a little of the fat off. To be honest,
trim the curd or whatever it is. Trim the fat.
Yeah.
But no, the weddings. I think this is me watching too much daytime TV.
It doesn't matter. That's what people would come on to listen.
Yeah, weirdly now this is becoming me. Please
get us out of lockdown.
Please subscribe to the Patreon. I can't tell you how much I need you to subscribe to the Patreon. But they're like weddings. Yeah, as you say, it's a good way to trim the fat. So a lot of people who get married in COVID are finding that you actually get a really nice ceremony and that day, because you, as you say, you're just doing it with you're forced to just have the people that matter.
And also, because the reason why you wouldn't do it with people who matter is because it's just too awkward to not invite them, and then you have that whole thing. But now you've got the perfect excuse to not invite exactly. Kind of that great aunt.
Exactly.
Just a bit,
I've remembered actually, because my dad's wedding photos are recently released in this, and
Is this an exclusive?
This is an exclusive. DM me for more deets. But they had. So there's a picture of, I forgot that, like, it's a strange day. I mean, maybe because of COVID as well. But the ceremony started, me and Joe, Melissa's boyfriend, were
his sister.
Yeah, sorry, my sister's boyfriend. We were doing some of the prep around it. But then we were like, this is a good time to go and have a beer and a cigarette. So we went off into the woods to have a beer and a cigarette.
Andrew smokes. I'm just trying to catch them up.
No, every now and again.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
On my dad's wedding because of the stress.
Yeah.
But then, then this woman frantically ran up to us and said, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm having a beer and a cigarette with my sister's boyfriend,
yeah.
sister's friend."
Friend.
And they were like, they've been waiting for you for 10 minutes. It turns out that they were waiting to go into the procession and it was literally Dad, Catherine, Melissa, and then Catherine's two daughters. And they're waiting for me because I was part of the main procession.
Fucking hell.
So there's a picture of me running down, like pulling my suit on, flicking a cigarette off and chucking a beer away.
He gets naked to smoke.
Yeah, I get naked.
Doing his trousers off.
Don't kink shame me. There's a video.
There, start white naked. Like, I thought we had 5 minutes.
But no. So that's a fun. But yeah. So weddings are good. Like, I feel like and then the whole plan is for them to have one a year in the next year. One a year.
Really?
I mean, that's how they've decided, instead of doing a big one next year, what they're going to do is they're just going to invite the same amount of people they could invite under COVID times every year until everyone's been to the wedding. I think
that might be that's like my idea of hell. Like, imagine that. Imagine having
getting married once a year.
No, imagine having to go to like your dad's wedding once a year. That'd be fucking awful.
Hearing him recite the same vows and having less passion each time he says them.
Oh yeah.
But the point was, funerals are terrible with it. Yeah. And they somehow, it's not just the funeral, it's just the fact that you can't see them. That's the problem. Yeah. And so COVID deaths are pretty horrible in that way, because it's not like a normal death.
Yeah, that's true.
In that sense. So there are a lot of things that go into it.
Yeah, that's fair.
But that is more of an emotive argument. But I think
that's fair. That's a completely fair one, because this is an emotive thing. Because the argument against it is pretty emotive as well. That is fair. I don't know. I guess I think I know I'm probably wrong, and it's come from a more emotional place. And I think it definitely is partly because I haven't even had I gave my mum COVID. But she was absolutely fine.
Out of spite, wasn't it?
Out of spite. And, she kept her mouth shut next time I was around, because I was like, I'll bring it back.
Right, yeah. I heard when she came to the house the other day, I could hear from her. She was a lot more respectful. A lot more.
Just get a bit lippy, and it's a good way to just shut them up. But she was fine, and I guess that's probably come from my own personal experience, is that I just have not been affected by COVID.
Yeah.
And that's a personal thing.
Yeah. And it's not because, but then in reality, because it was my nan that died, she would have been classed as one of the vulnerable. Absolutely, she would have been probably one of the first people to get a vaccine in the first group. So that's why your argument also does make sense, in that she would be someone that's vaccinated from it. So then it does. I get what you're saying. But there must be.
They're not just fucking. This is the thing. It's it doesn't add up when I do my workings out. When on the back of a notepad, when I'm trying to add up, it doesn't add up to me, but I'm sure.
We've got the maths here.
I'm sure.
So yeah, I think this is Horatius.
20%.
So I've got
July. That's 4 months. It doesn't.
I'll read out what I can see on the notepad. So I've got COVID mathematics breakdown. We've got population of England, and the UK is.
Go on. What have I got written down there?
What it says on the notepad is 26 million, but that's just London. Was
that serious?
Yeah.
Was that genuinely serious?
No, the point is I'm trying to say that you don't know any.
Got a more serious thing to talk about. So, there's being bad with numbers.
No,
but
I was joking because
what's the population of London?
No, please don't.
What's the population of London? I won't tell you what's right or wrong. What's the population of London?
Please don't.
What is the population of London? You had to say a number.
Please don't do this.
What's the population of London?
Please.
What is the population of London?
4 million.
What is the population of England? What is the population of England?
Why?
What is the population of England?
Why do you know?
What is the population?
I'm gonna have a ballot.
What is the population of England?
You know this is my
What
worst
is the
nightmare.
population of England?
20 million.
What is the population of the United Kingdom?
No, wait, can I take England down? Can I take England down to 16?
Sure.
And we'll do you. You know.
What's the population of the United Kingdom?
I'm actually.
What's the population of the United Kingdom?
32 million.
Okay.
What's the real answer?
I'm not going to tell you.
Well, I'm going to look it up. I haven't got my phone up here. Can you tell me? Was that ridiculous? What was it? You know that's my
16 million!
Wait, what did I say?
You said 16 million in England.
Is it more?
It's so... Okay, so London, Greater London's 13 million, Central London's 8 million, maybe 9. England is about 52 million, and the UK is 67 million. That is fucking shocking. 4 million. Jesus Christ.
You know that people have nightmares about turning up to school
You're
naked.
good at maths as well.
You know... yeah, but that's maths that I can see. I'm not good at intangible numbers. You know, people have nightmares about people like rocking up to school and you're naked. You've just made me relive my nightmare of someone asking me what's the population of somewhere live on air where people can see.
It is extraordinary.
No, I need to go for a week.
Wow. What?
What's the population? Do you know the population?
Yeah, I'm very good.
Yeah, give me one. What's your one that's most accurate?
Canada.
What is it?
32 million. I'll just check that because do you want accuracy?
No, that's good. So actually, having the
No,
conversation.
37 million.
So having the conversation we just had, I went away and thought, and one of the things that I remembered is that Canada's population is around 37 million.
Okay.
So the thing is, I'm not the tightest on the UK.
Yeah, but I'm editing
I'm
this.
big on Canada.
I'm editing this.
Well, so you keep that.
I'll just keep the bit where you asked me what the population of Canada was. So it doesn't. I don't know how you thought you'd bamboozled me. I run the edit, so.
I mean, I'm not trying to bamboozle you. I'm trying to bamboozle them.
Those pigs. But yes, I think with lockdown, don't open the book again.
No, I'm getting up back to the plan.
But with lockdown, it's felt like in the way that when we had the second wave sadness, that episode, you can look back at it. That was when we were discussing how we all felt quite bad because the announcement that was a second wave came with the beginning of the end of summer, basically.
Yes, it did.
And now the winter's basically over.
Yeah,
and
who needs winter, eh?
And the lockdown announcements happened. And I've certainly, now the sun's been out, I have felt a big uptick in mood. How about you?
So, yeah, no. Well,
how have you been feeling?
Yesterday, I managed to get the last 2 hours off work. And me and my friend went to the park. For a
sounds like you're doing like a French oral, but this is me and my friend.
Me and my friend go to park. We ate ice cream and petted dogs. No, we went to the park with a couple of beers, had a nice little walk around there. And coincidentally, we did bring your speaker, and you know the song, the girls watch the boys, watch the girls, watch the boys, watch the girls go by. We sat on a bench and played that
while you watch the boys and the girls go by.
The boys, the girls go by, and genuinely, someone was walking down the path and heard it and turned around.
Yeah.
But that's something you shouldn't do in a park. But I watched that, so I haven't got 2 hours off work early, which was a bit of a spurious thing, and eventually happened. It was big laughs, big lols, big happiness. We're all having a good time. Go to the park, sink a couple of beers. You're having a great time. We walked back, and I was 50-50 about whether I should cook or get a takeaway, and then we found £20 on the floor.
Wow.
Which then financed our takeaway.
Wow.
We then come back, we smashed our FIFA session, had the best FIFA session ever, had a beautiful takeaway. I then went to bed, and then I woke up and I worked today. And so that is what I'm also talking about in terms of having high expectations of things, including life.
Yeah.
If you have a good day, you wake up sadder the next day.
Did you find that? Did you
Yeah,
have a little bit of a low?
I've now I've had a lull today.
Yeah, because I was kind of coming into this podcast thinking this was going to be like the bright. We've had some pretty good mood podcasts, but they felt the good
my energy yesterday.
Yeah, well, the good mood podcasts I've felt that we've had have not had quite a feverish energy of like just the natural. Dopamine cycles of your body means that we come in feeling good when nothing's good in our lives, obviously not, but it's just the cycle that naturally happens. You can't be sad all the time. But I was kind of planning for this to be like a bookend of the second wave sadness, but then you've come in.
I've come in
with there's a slight low energy, not like a profound one, but like
a slight.
There's a slight.
There's a lot of aggression or just disapproval of things that I felt.
Well, because it's like if you have a good time, it puts bad times into more contrast. More into perspective.
Please subscribe to the Patreon. But
was it not a good work day?
No, they're all terrible at the moment. I'm not training anymore, so I'm now back to my normal job.
Okay.
And I'm in a very boring normal job at the moment.
So subscribe to the Patreon.
Please. Please, it'd be fucking great.
But yeah, I think it seems like everything's looking up. I think it's going to be a great summer. Because last summer was actually pretty fucking fun.
I will be absolutely.
Even during lockdown, I didn't mind lockdown at the beginning that much at all because the weather. If you have a garden and the weather's good, I think it's kind of fine. Yeah, like you miss out on I feel annoying because it's like you miss out on when you're in your early 20s. There's loads of stuff you just miss out on a couple of years of doing stuff that you can only do in your early 20s.
My worry is because I've seen a couple of things of this online as well. Yeah. Is that I've always I frequently be the person who would be dragging people out to go and do things. When I say do things, it's not like go and see museums. I'm not a day person. I'm a night person.
Come on, we're going to the V&A.
There's a Turner exhibition in the Modern.
That's more my vibe.
No, that's you. You're that, and I'm
guys.
And DMX crew are playing in Patterns tonight. Can we please?
So together we kind of fit the day and the night.
Exactly.
But then I saw this post on a social media outlet that won't be named for copyright reasons. That said, just your slight eyebrow movement on there. Yeah.
What made you laugh?
I knew I was saying nonsense and looked at you for this eyebrow movement, and you just went quite point me. You just went, which is exactly what I was expecting. But there was a bit of a thing for because my grandma has been big on, isn't it terrible for you young people? And I've always said it's worse for people at uni, which I said on this podcast. But this one Facebook post made me change my mind slightly, just because it was like people our age who have just come out of uni and then gone in and then lockdowns happened. We forgot I feel like we've become adults within this.
It's like
and then people
we've grown up really fast.
But I haven't. And I feel like because it's in still partying. Do you know what I mean? Still being a bit irresponsible.
Sure.
And being, not an adult. And I feel like a lot of people, and our friends included, will come out of lockdown with a more responsible outlook.
Do you think? Well, it's one of two ways.
No, because there'll be a summer purge, but then once the purge is over, it's like, oh shit, I actually want to get back to that.
Because I guess
I'm going to be left behind, and that's when you become like the bumbling drunkard on the corner shouting about Star Trek.
That's going to happen anyway. It's like this is
of course.
No, but your lifestyle is fine because it goes under the radar because we all what's it called indulge. No, what's it like? Support. We all support your lifestyle now because we're all
Enablers.
And we all enable your lifestyle, and it's fine. It's funny, Drew. You know, as soon as we hit 30. Then it starts becoming sad, but we always knew that was going to happen. It's just maybe it's come a bit earlier.
But even I've been more responsible now.
Yeah.
And like even during lockdown, I mean, is it the lockdown or is it my age? That's the thing.
I think it definitely has quickened maturity.
No, but the thing is because also fuck that, right? Because like lockdown, maybe that's what I'm saying. I think it quickens a maturity, and like that's maybe be more responsible with things. So I've stopped like my drink. I now only drink.
Yeah, you've been all right. Yeah.
I've been good. But like, I don't think I'm going to be one of those 50-year-old people who post on Facebook groups about the acid house scene in the 80s.
You'll be like, do you remember when we were at uni at Lem and we used to go, whenever there was like a D&B night or like an old school
There'll be a couple there.
UK garage, you'd see like ravers from the 90s. They're like legends. They're great to speak to, but in the daytime, I don't know how much there'll be. It was great to see these old school, like these like 50-year-old guys, and you speak to them about memories of like the 90s, which was the main nostalgia at the time.
Hold down a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah, but then it's like it's cool seeing them at 2 a.m, but is it cool seeing them at 9 a.m?
That's the point. Hopefully it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my plan definitely.
Well, I guess I've always been someone who's like thought lockdown's been all right because. Across the board, we've been very lucky in many ways. It's been the podcast has been good. I've had a lot of things that have been because of lockdown has made me do a lot of things that have been really helpful career-wise and stuff. But
you finally sorted out though that anal problem.
It's a bladder problem. It's not an anal problem. My anus is fine at the moment. I have a young anus and an old bladder.
But the bladder's not fine.
My anus age is a 12-year-old. He's fucking young as shit. Pardon the pun, but my bladder it's aging fast.
Can we talk about?
I was in the middle of something.
Yeah, I know.
Very deep and personal.
Can we not debase ourselves?
But I thought, I guess the beginning of any anxieties was the feeling of like all the things I want to do, like. That like because everyone's like, I want to travel loads, but
you just want the right anal cream.
I just want the anal right.
Sorry.
But if you think about it, it's like the problem is that the problem with traveling is that it's really easy to put it off because you can just say, I'll make money here.
Very difficult to put it on.
Yeah, it's hard to put it on because. If you think you're going to want kids, that's like, 28 to 35 is like the window. And once you have kids, that's like that type of traveling's gone. And there's loads of different types of travelling that slowly disappear the older you get. Like, I'm thinking of maybe...
The further you move away from 25, the further you move away from sex tourism.
Exactly. Well, no, because it comes back in 50.
You're goddamn right.
Yeah, it swings back. But sex tourism is not what I'm talking about. But it's like... Because I was speaking about...
one of the joys of retirement.
Is the sex tourism. No, I think travelling comes back round. Like, my dad and our family travel a lot more now that we're all...
a TV series about sex tourists.
Oh my god! If we did we are that like we do like a go into Bangkok and do like a
sex story,
but like a Louis Theroux but more involved.
Yeah.
You know how he gets involved and it's like
but then
you know how he's awkward.
And he always knows where the line is. We'll cross that line
because I remember listening on a podcast of Louis Theroux when he was doing the porn industry and he was very because he was like at that point when he was the most bold in his career he truly considered being in a porno and he thought that would be kind of gross and he beautifully explained why it would cross the line, which it would. You don't want to see Louis like that. If we did like a Louis Theroux deep dive documentary on the porn industry, we would end up just we would be in the porn.
You carry it and I think if me and you
I think you would carry it well.
Yeah, maybe
not. I don't know if
I
would end up a bit insecure and if you have show us inkling of insecurity.
I'd go full. I'd head on. I'd dive into that situation.
But it's like this is what's been the worst thing about lockdown is losing these kind of years in your early 20s. It's like I want to do certain things traveling and like already I'm old to go interrailing, but me and BB are thinking about potentially going interrailing before the Interrail ticket runs out when you're 25.
Yeah.
So we may want to sneak in there. And it's like trying to get interrailing's best when you're early 20s. Southeast Asia's best, but when you're like mid 20s. South America's best.
I'm gonna say there's a bit of a fallacy in that to a certain extent.
No, because it's like
you've gotta
it
be
works well for your
energetic.
lifestyle. You got to be energetic, but also you got to be realistic,
But
and you got to plan these things. Because if people are too much like, I'll be young forever, I'll do this. Once you have kids, that's like, you're not going to do a lot of these things. You're not going to hostel hop or do that style of traveling.
That's what I'd say, and like just from doing Vietnam for a month-ish is like
but you're the right age. That's literally
no,
you're literally
but
the bang on age.
I know, but hostel hopping.
Yeah.
You have like the hostels that we stayed at for pittance were not bad at all. As in, there were some ones that I'd think you'd classify as a 3 or 4
no,
star
they're great.
hotel.
Yeah, they're great.
And that you can in these countries, you can obtain a degree of comfort for nothing.
It's not even about comfort. It's about doing these experiences. Obviously, you don't want to, but you will end up if you're 35. You don't.
Yeah.
It's
Don't
not.
get me wrong, if you're 40 and going to a full moon party in Thailand,
then
you're a cunt.
But also, if you're like going in Vietnam, it's not even about necessarily about having the pillows you want or stuff like that. It's about there being loads of 21-year-olds getting fucked up, and you're 35.
But
it's just like
not,
a different.
But then, because like from Vietnam, it wasn't like we went to one place where we saw people of our age in a nightclub. Most of it, you're going through like these kind of weird, small, quaint villages, and seeing the sights and going around. And it's like it's very much about the people that you go with, and you have the experience. You share the experience with the people that you're with. But it's not like going to Cancun where you're looking for. You're not looking for people.
I guess
who
the
are
main
of a
thing is
similar
it was
perspective.
it was like a year when a certain type of traveling was kind of it's you're built for it. And it's you've got to factor in kids because you just can't do a certain style of traveling once you have kids. And I think that was the thing that's going to be for me. I think it's going to be nice to frustrating thing about lockdown is losing this kind of rare period. If I lose a year and a half of like my early 20s, which the amount of stuff you could have done in that time.
But that's the thing. But a lot of that, like, because if you're talking about the age things, a lot of that depends on the work that you're doing as well. And like the older you get, it's the more it's expected that you can't get this specific time off work to go and do something like that. Which we don't. I mean, you don't really have that. And if you can't subscribe to the Patreon, I wouldn't have that as well. But that's. I feel like that's the main problem with it because I don't think it's an age thing.
No, because what you want in life, in my general philosophy, is to you want to get you. I think I'm pretty healthy compared to most people. When we're talking about like anxiety about aging,
but when we're talking about bladder, we're not.
I'm not healthy in that regard.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like making peace with age, I'm not like I know people who are my age who are freaking out. I'm kind of fine with it. But the main thing is just enjoy every age for what it is. So when I'm 30, I'm going to enjoy 30 for what it is. But then do you think
that's holding you back? Because then maybe that's what I'm saying here is that like because you've got a barrier on.
It's not a barrier.
No. But if you're saying something like. You should, because I absolutely agree with that. Because you can look at Hollywood actors and stuff, and and that weirdly goes into the plastic surgery argument of like when there's a certain what you should do once you get older is accept that age,
and
then
embrace
that
it.
has a dignity in it that is so much better than trying to be something that you're not.
Yeah, completely.
But also because when you talk about someone like plastic surgery, I'd agree with. But then if you're talking about going traveling or something, like acting your age isn't important. That's when I think it's bullshit.
It's not bullshit because it's like there's just certain types of traveling that I want to do and I want the experience of doing when I'm a certain age because you can say it's like youth mindset and it is, but it does change. When you go to Southeast Asia when you're 30, it's different from when you go to Southeast Asia when you're 23. It's just a different beast.
So what do you think is different about it?
What I think is different is that when you go when you're that young, you still don't know as much about yourself.
So you're going there to find yourself?
No, not necessarily. You're going there with people who are. That's when a lot of people go, and it's like having those experiences early on. It can shape you from an earlier age, and it's not about.
I agree.
When you're 30, there's loads of other stuff. Like there's loads of places I look at, and I'm like, I don't want to travel here because I know I'm going to end up there. Yeah. Probably.
Such as?
When I look at, maybe Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Russia, China, Japan, those places, I'm like, I'll probably, that's fine. There's so much stuff to do there when you're 30, and there's so much cool stuff that is completely fine when you have a bit more money, when you're doing stuff like that. But when you're dirt poor and you're young, Southeast Asia, interrailing, those are built for you, you know. And I'm trying to that's where my anxieties mainly come from.
Yeah.
You know? Of course you can see Europe. Of course you can see Southeast Asia.
No, but that's because that is my point, and I agree.
And
to
that's
partially.
the main thing. It's been a pretty good year for me in many ways. The lockdown's been fine for me. The main thing is the travel restrictions meant that there's a couple of things where it's like it's pushed everything. There's put more pressure on achieving those things. That it's
I do get that completely. The only thing that I would say, just from having done Vietnam, is that but then that does go into the comfort thing.
It's not the comfort thing.
But I just because like
it's not the comfort thing.
It's not about finding. But then why? Like why can you not have these kind of realizations when you're slightly older?
It's not about it's when if you want to see as much as possible in the world, there should be a little bit of restructuring.
Traveling to China when you're 50 versus traveling to Vietnam when you're 24.
There's differences because you're in different places, and it's good to like think about these things. So like,
but then if I'm being honest, all you're talking about is richer and poorer countries.
No.
So then you should travel to poorer countries when you're poorer and richer countries when you're richer, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, partly.
Yeah, but why? What does that mean?
Because if you go to, like, for example, I want to do a road trip across America. I'm not going to do that until I have money.
No, of course, but that makes sense to do when you have money because that's something. No, but that's something that is only obtainable when you have money. But I'm saying that going across Vietnam
is super attainable when you have no money. So you should do it then when you can.
And do it when you do.
When you have money.
Presuming that you do.
You're presuming you do.
Subscribe to the Patreon.
Yeah, presuming you subscribe to the Patreon. But this is what I mean. It's like being realistic about these things. The reason why Southeast Asia is so good to do when you're young. The reason why interrailing, everyone does it when they're 18. Loads of people do it when they're 18. It's because it's so cheap.
Part of it is like, for me, like having been to America when I was younger, and a few different things like that. Like, now I'm talking really young, so I'm not saying that's a thing against your argument. But like, for me, like the joy of it is so the properly, I mean, if we're not going to try and get a bit too pretentious here, but the exploring of the different cultures and all of those things is often, with traveling, you get the best experience when there isn't the money involved in it. And like, you can go to China, you can go to China and Japan and have these like plush experiences.
It's not plush.
It is plush.
No, I think we're talking at different ends here because it's not about it's a different thing. It's not about having it cushy. It's about the ease of the experience,
the affordability of it.
Yeah, and of course, but
I'm saying you can have as easy an experience in like an Asian country as you could in China.
No, that's just not the case.
No, but it's like
I've literally been to China.
Yeah,
it's genuinely not the case.
I know, and of course, but what you're talking about as an easy experience is like, but that's comfort.
It's not comfort. It's not about comfort. It's about places that you know you might end up with, maybe even for work, you know. And it's about there's certain experiences that will probably be better suited for certain ages. This is not a controversial thing to say.
No, I don't think it is. But I'm just saying that I think like there's too much of a barrier going around, as in like the idea of going to a less wealthy country.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't seem that you had the capability for it to be a nice, easy trip.
My point is if I'm 30 and I have kids or something, Southeast Asia, you're not going to be inclined to do it.
Kids
and
is different.
I could have done it when I was younger, and I couldn't have done the other things when I was younger.
Of course, kids
I
is
can't go on the
different,
Trans-Siberian Railway as easily when I'm this age as maybe when I have a bit more.
I do agree.
So if you're trying to achieve as many things as you can and fit it in so you can get as much out of what you want from life. A big thing for me is career and travel. If I'm trying to achieve all those things, you've got to be weighing it up. And if you're on a limited budget, you should make use of a place that's sort of built for tourism for people with limited budgets.
My point, which I do agree with, but my point would also be that you can get like some of the better experience I think you can get without that is also, regardless of where you are in your life and having the ability to have a higher budget to then do these different countries.
It's about the traveling, it's the places. It's not about the quality of the places you're staying at. It's not about staying at 4-star hotels. It's about the cost of traveling to certain countries is much harder because of the cost of living so much harder. It's not about I want to stay in a big double bed. It's about it just costs more to travel across here because it's not as built for those kind of things.
Exactly. So which I completely agree. So that's why I'm saying there is like our age and our income right now, it is unobtainable to do. No, let me finish. It's unobtainable to do somewhere like China or Japan or whatever, where there's the high cost of living. I completely agree with that. Absolutely. So it is good. I mean, but I agree with the point of that. It's absolutely good to get these and save those up for when you're able to do it. But for us right now, we're not able to do that. My point would also be that I think it's still worth revisiting some of those other countries that we're talking about, where the cost of living is lower when you're older as well. I don't think it's just about.
Yeah, but I'm not saying it's not.
It's not such
I'm
an
not saying
I know,
it's
but
not.
it's not such an easy roadmap.
I'm not saying
everyone
I'm not saying it's not, but I'm saying if you're being practical about the things you want to see, of course you can be. I'd hope to revisit places that I like, obviously. But if you want to see a lot, if you want to see a lot of places, it just makes sense that you go to somewhere which you can afford to do. You know?
Yeah, no, of course, but it's not all about affordability.
Well, it is if you can't afford somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
You
But
can't
then
go.
those things aren't obtainable right now, and I'm saying, but affordability works both ways, and that it's not just although you might get to a place where you can afford to do those things, go to these places where the cost of living is higher, which you should absolutely try and do if you had the ability to. But it's also about saying that there is so much worth of these traveling, and I feel like you can get maybe, I don't know, because I haven't been to all these places, but you can get a lot. You can get as much, if not more, from doing everything for the poorer countries and going into those places, even though you have the capability to do that. So I don't know. I don't really subscribe to the idea of as your income goes up, because that's I don't know, that you're saying that that's going to happen. And that's not necessarily the truth.
It's not necessarily the truth, but it's an assumption. I'd hope that I have more money when I'm 30 than I do now.
Yeah, but you've got no talent.
Yeah, but that would be fucking brutal if I was on £300 when I'm 30.
Yeah, but you should probably start to get...
If I was 30 years old and I was on £300.
You should probably start to get used to that
I don't think you disagree with me at all. I mean, that's the thing, is I think everything I've said is completely reasonable.
No, of course.
But your argument about things about revisiting things when you're older, I'm not at all denying that.
Really
but if you're trying to see as many places as possible, you see places which are better suited for certain ages. South America is a trip that's better when you're 27, 28 because it's more expensive.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, sure. I'm not.
Southeast Asia is better when you're 23, 24 because you can afford it. Interrailing's better when you're 18, 19. America is better when you're in your 30s.
Yeah, of course. And the only thing I was saying, to preface that of because I'm thinking, what I'm mostly thinking about is someone like my dad who hasn't seen these places because he didn't get the opportunity to do so when he was younger. Because when he was younger, he didn't even have a level of money where he could travel abroad in the slightest. Okay. So what I'm talking about is it's not also just about the more money you have, you go into, because I could see my parents, they come from not nothing, but not a lot, and then they're going to once they start to get more money, you then go to the slightly more well-off countries, but then they'll forget about the countries that you can have a fucking fantastic travel experience.
I think the miscommunication here is that you think I'm talking about a broad general thing. I'm talking about me personally.
Oh yeah,
I'm not talking about a general thing, even though it might apply to some people. I'm talking about how I'm playing. I was talking about my own anxiety about losing these couple of years.
Given Horatio's views on traveling. It's with a heavy heart.
He had to resign from the
podcast.
podcast.
I had to resign from this podcast.
Well, as it's the final podcast, let's finish it with...
it's the final podcast.
Well, no, it's the final podcast, it seems.
This is the last one.
Let's discuss... let's discuss the new Bruce Springsteen, Barack Obama podcast. Hello. We just had an hour-long argument about Obama and Trump. It was literally an hour long. It probably won't see the light of day.
None of it was for you. It was only for us.
I might supercut the most emotive parts of it.
No, it's not saying it's worse than others, but then how are you...
So are you saying he did the best in a bad situation?
No.
Do you have any opinion on Obama?
No,
it was too nasty.
No, you're being broad. You're being broad. Why couldn't Obama push Obamacare into...
To say...
I know, but I'm focused...
That's what I was... But my point was I was making a point about Obama, about my opinion on him. I was partly. It was just an interesting angle. Yeah. It's something that was a thought-provoking angle that I definitely think has a point to be made. I definitely think that's...
and I say it's a redundant point.
Enough.
We're cutting all of that out.
Yeah, an hour of it, and we stop at an hour. Yeah. So you're fine. It's fine. It's absolutely fine.
I think I went.
It's fine.
I came up here looking for an argument.
Yeah. I mean, we've made it. I did 33 episodes alone, and then I've done 30 with you. So we've made 30 episodes without
Without
having
having a
an
proper-
argument. So I think that's still pretty impressive. But on an otherwise pretty... I mean, I was worried when we reached the hour mark that we hadn't talked about things. I was talking about Bruce Springsteen and Obama's new podcast.
And I brought Mark to submit. I'm really sorry.
And it got into... Yeah. Well, maybe you'll see some highlights. But we'll be just dissecting the argument further on the Patreon. But once again, thank you so much for subscribing. We'll see you next week. We've been Boys Gone Wild.